Welcome back to Austin Creations. I'm Greg. Today we're going to be trying a new tool. I ordered a McNaughton Center Saver coring system from Lee Valley Tools, and we're going to give it a shot today. So come on in, let's open this up and see what we got. Okay, I bought this, ordered it from Lee Valley Tools, and I actually got it within just a couple of days. Cost me about $360. I've been doing the research on different coring systems, and this is the one I settled on because not only was it one of the least expensive, but it seems to have more adaptability. You can do more with it. The others come with pre-shaped knives that pretty much can cut one shape alone. Although you can change the sizes, you cannot change the shape. In other words, they have a built-in pivot point, and when the knife cuts into the bowl, that is the only shape that you have. This system, and y'all see me open this for the first time. I've not gotten into it, have not tried it. So, well, must be child-proof plastic. You can do straight and a couple different shapes. I've got the large. There's three, or actually I think there's four different sizes. There's a micro, which is small to use on bench top lathes, low power lathes. Then there's a small, a standard, and then this is the large. I do plan to order another knife from the standard just so that I can have a bit tighter radius in the cut to give me just a little more flexibility even than I have with this. But from what I understand with these, you can change the angle that you use it, and that would give you a wider range of shapes. Now this is the captive part of the system. Goes onto the post, and the turret goes on, and then you'll tighten. I have to get an Allen wrench to tighten this to keep it from coming off. You'll notice that there's a slot cut on the post. This Allen screw, you don't want to tighten it down to keep the turret from turning. You simply want that in far enough to catch under that lip so that the turret doesn't come off the post. And you don't have to worry so much from looking at it. I don't think you'd have to worry so much about the turret coming off. But if you get a catch and it pivoted your tool on the turret and lifted up on the captive portion of the rest, I think it could pull it up. So let's pull the rest of this out. Get this box out of our way. Nothing else in there. Broke my styrofoam. But we're going to move this out of the way and see what we've got. We have 3 different shaped knives. There are 4 that come with the standard and the small. They have a straight and knives that are comparable in shape to the 3 that I have here, but they also have a knife that is tighter. Let's tighten this up just a little bit more. There we go. Too tight. There we go. So now the pieces are both independently turning. Now the videos I've watched, and like I say, I did quite a bit of research before I settled on this. There are, I think, 3 major systems available. There's the Oneway and okay, I've forgotten the name of the other one. They're both very similar in design. The McNaughton is the one that is more freehand, I suppose, than the others. And also, as a result, this is supposedly the one that has a higher learning curve. So, we come with a handle. Handle's not bad. I watched a video from a fellow turner who had trouble, was not impressed because of workmanship. And I'll include a link to his page and the video and the comments are in the description of this video. But this one does not have the problems that he described. The problem he had was the screw on the thumb nut was drilled and tapped off center, both laterally and longitudinally, or so the screw went in at an angle, and it did not match up with the set screws, which this design, I believe, would need them to be pretty much 180 degrees out in the plane, so that they would pinch this flat stock, because this is bar stock. It's not round, so it would need to be able to pinch between the set screws and the thumb screw. So we will attach this by tightening the thumb screws to get it in the center, I would imagine, and then tighten it down with the set screws, and then tighten it down with the thumb screws. Alright. Now the way this works is, and he did describe that it was tight. So it looks like we're going to have to sand the knives to provide some clearance, because they are tight. How are the other two? Yep, it's tight as well. I'm on. All right, that one's clear. So basically, when you address the bowl and you put your blade in, it goes onto the turret between the posts, which keep it from twisting, and the strap back here keeps it from lifting. So that stabilizes the system, the knife, to keep you from having to worry about it being snatched out of your hand or having a catch that would cause issues with ripping parts off the chuck quite so bad. Alright, I'm going to stop the video here, and I guess I'm going to do some fit and finish work on these knives to get them to address through the turret a little easier. Be back in a minute. Okay, so here's what I did. I basically took it to my belt sander and made a couple of passes on it, and trued the side up a little bit, took the finish off, and put several coats of paste wax on. And now it works as advertised. Take a little more. Now, the instructions do say that you should spray the turret with WD-40 when you first use it, or when you're using green wood, or if things start to stick in it. And I have not done that, so maybe, I'll try that. I got to get some WD. I don't even have any here in the shop, believe it or don't. I got duct tape, no WD-40. But on a side note here, for anybody who's using some of the Grizzly or maybe the Harbor Freight, and don't diss the Harbor Freight lathe, it's probably the best thing that Harbor Freight sells, and for an entry-level lathe, it's kind of hard to beat. You're not going to find anything else for $300 that'll do what it'll do. But anyway, they come with a 25mm tool rest post diameter, which is just slightly, it's like a 64th or a 32nd shy of an inch. It's about a 64th shy of an inch. So the aftermarket tool rests that you get, they're 1 inch, will not fit. Now I got a 1-inch drill bit, put it in the drill press, and just ream that hole out. Just ran a pass through it with a 1-inch drill bit. And now 2-inch tool rest posts. Aftermarket tool rest post will work. With no problem. But the factory 25mm will also still work, and there are no problems there. So if you've got one that's got a 25mm tool rest, it's not a big deal to run an inch drill bit through there and open up your options with aftermarket tool rests. So you might want to give that a shot. So I'll have to agree with Stephen Ogle. It's rather disappointing to spend $350 or $400 on a tool and then have to do the work for the fit and finish yourself. But with that being said, a comparable system from Oneway is going to cost you close to 3 times as much as what this will. To get the Oneway base and 3 knives is going to cost you pretty much twice what this system will be, and then another knife will run you another, what, $150 or so. Replacement knives for the McNaughton are $55, and 3 times that much for the Oneway. Now again, the Oneway, from what I understand, my research has shown that the Oneway has a whole lot shorter learning curve and is easier to use, but you don't have the adaptability to freehand the way you do with the McNaughton. Now if you'll notice on the M8 turret here, there are 5 pins and 4 ledges. Now there, like I said before, there are 4 different classes of the tools. They have the micro, the mini, the standard, and the large. I got the large, which uses the first and goes between the first and second pin. Now that is the bottom ledge. Now the difference is the thickness of the blades. So the smaller pins are closer together, so the larger blades won't even fit in. I think the standard and the mini have the same thickness, but the width of the blade is different. You'll notice that the micro uses a much narrower knife. The mini uses a little bit larger. The standard uses larger still, and the large has the largest knife of all. So you have different ledges that each one sits on. What that does is that ensures that no matter where you set this, once you find your height to match the center of your lathe, and you can mark it or set a space or whatever you choose to do, which I think probably is a waste of time. It's no big deal to set the center of it whenever you tighten it in. But if you were to go from, say, the large to the standard, then you would not have to readjust it, because the ledge is going to put the knife in the right spot, because it's going to raise it up so that the tip is still at the center. So that way McNaughton can save costs, I suppose, by having one turret system for all of their tools, and they don't have to reproduce the same idea in different sizes. So I guess that's that would, I would imagine, be a manufacturing benefit. So okay, so I suppose, even though I'm disappointed, like Stephen Ogle said, with the fit and finish, and with the same complaint he had, except my handle is in much better condition than his is. So I hope that whatever manufacturing issue they had with his, they've got straightened out, because I would imagine that could cause some issues if it isn't straight. I would imagine that it would be difficult to get your knives secured into the handle, could possibly even result in bent screws, which would make it difficult to get them out, but I don't know. I don't know if this happened when it was going through the mantle to be bent, because it was just the edges that were distorted, and Stephen goes into more detail on the shape with the high spots on the blade in his video, and I encountered the same things. Along the outside edges was proud, but it dished in along the belly on the outside. However, on the inside of the curve, if you can see, the outside edges were not, it is the center that's proud. So that most likely happened in the process of putting the arc into the piece. But either way, you would think, in my mind, that they would check these before they left the factory, and maybe not, but at any rate, if it had, they'd have seen that it did not pass through the turret's pins. But I believe it's working now. I will most likely, actually, with my tediousness is very much like Mr. Ogles, is I will probably come back and polish this to smooth it down even more. But I believe that thinning it down and waxing it is going to make it very usable. And I do look forward to using it, and I will put a video up. I may or may not be able to do it today. I'm at the end of my vacation, and so I've got to go in and make my hair presentable for work. So I don't know how much more time I'm going to put out here in the shop tonight. But I will get the video up within the next few days. So we'll see how this works. And if you have any questions, feel free to post comments, and I'll answer whatever I can. And in keeping with the learn as I turn nature of this channel, I will post the video of my first attempt with this. Y'all saw me open it first time I touch it. You will see me address wood with it the very first time. So win, lose, or draw, fail. Hopefully it won't be too bad a fail, if at all. We should have a video up of it in the next few days. So come on back and see what happens. I'm sure it's going to be an adventure, and it most likely will be comedy. So see you next time.